God wants you to be quiet. Not everything that he puts in your heart you must share. Not every idea that he's planted in your head you must call your friends and share. There are moments in life when the wisest thing you can do is say nothing. Not because you're afraid or not because you lack confidence, but simply because not every plan that God gives you is meant for public discussion. Some blessings, they grow in silence. And if you tell everyone too soon, you risk exposing something that is so sacred. You risk exposing it to jealousy, to opinions, to doubt and discouragement. Hi guys, welcome back to the Primrose A channel. I'm Primrose and this is your safe space for healing, self-care and rediscovery. Today we are talking about why sometimes God wants you to be silent about some things that he's doing in your life. Think about it. When a seed is buried in the ground, right? It grows for a while underground when no one can see it. No one even knows that this seed that you planted a bean, right? You've planted that bean seed or maize, right? It takes a while to grow, but underneath it, the work is happening, but you can't see it. And your life works the same way. That's the same thing. When God places a simple instruction in your heart, it often begins as a private instruction, an instruction from God, not a public announcement. For example, let's say you decide you want to start driving, or you decide you want to start doing driving lessons. Suddenly, the moment you tell 5 or 10 people, people start telling you, you really want to do driving lessons? It's so expensive. Someone will tell you, oh, I failed my driving lessons. I did 20 lessons and I still didn't pass. There's no way you're gonna pass. And some people will even tell you, the test was really hard. I did pass it, but it was really hard. And before you know it, that thought that you wanted to do your driving lesson, it goes out of the window. Their doubt starts affecting your confidence. Sometimes God wants you to start quietly. Book the lesson, start revising for your theory, practice, pass the test, then you can share your testimony. Sometimes things don't happen in our lives because we tell people the recipe too quickly before we even prayed about it, before God even fully gives us a confirmation that this thing is going to come to pass. Remember, not everybody can handle your vision or your plans or the goals that you have. Sometimes you can simply be thinking about you want to start a new job, right? And sometimes God is simply pushing you towards something better. God knows that, you know what, my child deserves to be in a better job, in a better space for work. But as soon as you mention to people that, you know what, I'm thinking of leaving this job, I'm thinking of starting a new job, people start saying things like, why would you leave your job in this type of economy that we're staying in now, or that we're in now? Where do you think you're going to get a better job? Some people will even tell you, you're taking a risk, mate. And the issue is, what people might call risk, God calls that obedience. And this is exactly what I'm trying to say, that silence protects your vision from those people that don't have the vision of God that God has put on you. Silence protects your vision for people that don't have the same calling. And it's not that I'm saying that don't tell people about things that God is doing for you or things that you're planning to do. But sometimes people can't see what God has showed you. How many times have you thought of an idea, or you've wanted to execute something, but as soon as you tell people, you're so overwhelmed because everybody has different opinions or different ways that they will do that thing. And before you know it, you're discouraged. Before you know it, you've packed that thing and you're not doing it anymore. You've overshared. Some of us need to pray for a spirit of oversharing. I used to be guilty of this, and I think I am still guilty of this. Sometimes when I'm in an awkward situation, or when I'm around someone and I feel like, okay, I don't have nothing to say right now, I find myself oversharing. I'm telling you about my life, my relationship, my work, my finances, everything. How many of you watching this video right now, you suffer from the spirit of oversharing? And it's not like you plan on doing it, it just happens. And sometimes that's when information is leaked and we go to the process of monitoring spirits. If you know about monitoring spirits, you understand what I'm saying. There are some people in your life who are simply there to monitor what you're doing and speak negatively about any dreams or any goals you're trying to accomplish. It's important that you pray to God to help you to remove the spirit of oversharing, or to help you to just keep some things contained until it's the right time to share. This goes to, like, if you've been thinking of starting a business, or you've been thinking about content creation, or you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, the moment you try to share, and I feel like sometimes some of us, we say these things to people because we are looking for outside validation. Before you start sharing to people that, you know what, I want to open a clothing business, or I want to start posting online, or I want to start selling jewelry, pray to God about it. See what God says, or if God has already put an idea over your heart, or is God have already given you ways in which you can start that thing, start it quietly and pray over it. Because sometimes God will give you an idea, or sometimes you have a business idea, or you're about to start school, or you're looking for a job, or you're going for interviews, and things don't go according to plan and you fail. And sometimes God actually puts you in certain situations that you will fail that very thing that he wants you to do. But maybe he's teaching you to be resilient. Maybe he wants you to pray over it more. Maybe there's certain roads that he wants you to take. But when you tell people and you fail that thing, you then almost think, actually, that thing was not meant for me. But no, you spoke too soon. But no, maybe God has another way that he wants you to do that thing. But no, maybe God is trying to push you to give you more strength and more wisdom and more knowledge on how to accomplish that goal. Another thing to consider is that silence gives you the power and the space to create in silence. There is something so beautiful about having a goal or a dream or a job or whatever it is that you just know, that it's just known between you and God. There is something so beautiful about praying over an idea, about executing your idea in private before you announce it, because outside energy tends to bring a lot of negative energy to your idea. So whenever you feel like you need to say something, just pray silently, God help me, or God tame my tongue. Some things have to remain deeply personal to you, between you and God. Things like buying a house. You tell people, I'm trying to buy a house, or or I found a house that I like. Before you know it, that house you like is off the market. Or before you know it, that house has been offered to someone else. Why? Because you spoke too soon. Outside in energy brings very, very negative spirits. Some people don't want you to succeed the way you think they do. Some people are silently in competition with you. And the quicker you share, the quicker they sit there in their houses. Some people, it's not even because they have a bad spirit. They just have bad thoughts over your idea. You tell someone, you know what, I'm planning on buying a car, and I've been saving up for buying a car, and before you know it, your finances start going out the window. The idea of you buying the car is gone off, or there's pressure. People give you pressure. Once you tell them you want to do something, they're asking you, I thought you said you're buying a house in 3 months' time. What happened to you putting a deposit for that car? Are you still driving that car? And you start feeling that pressure, because sometimes I feel like as people, we think when we share things to people, your brain gets this false achievement that you've achieved the goal, right? Because how many times do you tell your friends or your family that, oh, I'm planning to buy a house in Dubai, or I'm planning to buy a new car, or I'm planning to start this big job, this big role. And because the validation that people give you, like, oh my God, that's amazing, congratulations. A lot of people start congratulating you on something that you haven't accomplished yet. They start congratulating you. And your mind then thinks, oh wow, I've done that thing. So you almost then relax in a way. You don't even know you're doing it, but you almost relax. You're no longer putting so much pressure, because you think, okay, people have validated me. Yeah, people think I'm a big girl, I'm a big man, I've achieved this. But no. All you did, you just spoke. People gave you the validation, but you haven't spoken to God about this thing. This thing hasn't actually come to pass. And that's when you see down the road now, that job has fallen through. That house deal you were going to get fallen through. Your savings and your saving goals that you were trying to achieve, non-existent. Because you simply spoke too soon to the wrong ears. Sometimes God calls you into a deeper spiritual season. Sometimes your heart and God is calling you to fast. He's calling you to pray more. Not everything you must announce to people. You mustn't tell people that, oh yeah, I'm fasting. Actually, no, thanks, I'm fasting, mate. No, thanks, I'm fasting, I can't do that. Oh, you're going out this weekend? No, Everybody doesn't need to know that. is between you and God. And I feel like a lot of people do say this a lot for almost, again, outside validation. They want people to think, oh, you're such an amazing Christian, you're a good Christian, she's fasting, she's this. But you're inviting unwanted energy. Certain things are sacred between you and your Lord. Not every prayer journey that you're in needs to be explained. If you're praying for God to bless you with a child, some of you might be, struggling with trying to conceive and trying to have a child, men or women. If you're praying for that, you don't need to be loud about it. You don't need to post it everywhere like, oh, currently for the next 7 days, I'm fasting for God to bless me with the blessing of the womb. Certain things like that are sacred. Even if when you do get pregnant, certain things like that are sacred. Keep certain things between you and God. Protect your vision. Protect your blessing. Silence, keep the focus on God, not attention. You don't need attention from people. All you need is you, your prayers, and God. Not every blessing needs an audience. Not every plan needs a validation. Sometimes the reason why God wants you to be silent is because He is still building something in you. When the time is right, the results will speak louder than any announcement that you could make right now. Let the results do the work. Let the results do the talking. Let people see and say, wow, how did you get there? And then this is when you just say, it's God, oh. My sister, is God. Because certain things, let God reveal to people what you've achieved. Not everything needs you to announce to people. Not everything do you need people to clap for you before that thing has come to pass. If you're in this season that you feel like God is calling you to move quietly, silently, don't worry. Silent isn't weakness. Sometimes silence is wisdom. When people say, pray for God to give you the spirit of wisdom, pray for God to give you the spirit of discernment, that is more important than any outside validation that you need. Sometimes you even feel it when you overshare. Once you're leaving a certain space, there is something in your spirit that tells you, gosh, I overshared. Why did I say what I said? Sometimes you even call the person when you finish, when you've left the person that you were talking to and you feel like you've overshared to them, or you feel like you've told them something that now you're feeling, I should have kept this to myself. Sometimes you find yourself calling someone and say, hi, so listen, you know what we spoke about? Please, can you not tell anyone? That is your discernment spirit telling you that you shouldn't have said that thing to that person. That spirit is confirming to you that you said the things that God was telling you to keep sacred, you said it to the wrong person, to the wrong ears. So remember, the less people know about your plans, the less they can interfere with what God is preparing you in your life. And yes, if this message has helped you or has resonated with you, please comment below. I am moving in silence in 2026. And remember, some of your biggest blessings will grow best in private before they appear in public. So don't be disheartened by this message. Just pray to God. If you're going through a season now where you feel like you've overshared, or where you feel like every time you say something you're embarrassed because that thing doesn't come to pass, pray to God to give you the spirit of wisdom, to give you the spirit of discernment. Pray to God to help you to stop oversharing everything, because not everyone has their best intentions when it comes to you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've watched this video to the end and you have not subscribed, why? Subscribe to my video, guys, and I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.